Reno, and I am the author of The Negativity Fast. And the worst advice I ever got was from one of my best friends who said, "You know what you should do for the summer is put stucco on houses." And it is the worst and most disgusting job you'll ever have to do, and your arms will hurt for years afterwards.
You putting stucco on houses. Boy, that is pretty crappy advice, Anthony. So, how old were you when he gave you this?
16, 17, maybe.
Yeah. That's funny. Did it make you never want to do like that manual of labor again or what?
Well, if you have no skills, like I had no skills, what you're going to do is you're going to get a hoe and you're going to put cement in a tub, and you have to actually just make the concrete for the people who can actually put it on the house. So I was just constantly doing that, and then my arms would just lock up, and they would be locked onto the hoe. And I was like, had to have people pry my hands off of this thing. It was a terrible, terrible job. Probably
Wow.
one of the worst of many bad jobs I had.
Wow. That's yeah, that is terrible, man. No arms is no good. So wow. So did you practice any of the principles in the book then, or did you complain, or what'd you do?
I didn't complain because I needed the money. So when you need money, you're just going to do it and you're not going to worry too much about it. But I did decide that that wasn't for me as a long term possibility.
That's good. Well, the world would have been deprived of your voice and your insight had you decided to continue to do that. So, as we jump in here, first, congratulations, Anthony. The book is beautiful. It's full of great insight. I mean, Seth's endorsement here that says it should be called the Positivity Buffet. Absolutely true. So, congratulations, my friend.
Yeah, but you're the last person that needs this book.
That's not true. I have my days that stink.
Yeah,
So,
maybe the politics thing though. That's the
right.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
politics gets me.
I'm post political now. So I
Yeah.
just yeah,
What does that
just
mean?
I I don't watch any television news. I don't pay attention to it. And one of the things when you tell people to go on a negativity fast and not to consume politics, they're like, "Well, what if something happens and I don't know?" Like, you're going to know. Every person is going to tell you this thing just happened. So you don't have to worry about missing something because everybody else is going to be talking about it anyway.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think also, so what if you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Like, does it really matter if you don't know? Does it? I don't think it does.
Of course, I mean, it doesn't. The world keeps going whether we do anything about it or not. At some point you think like, I'd love to be the president so I could do, what I want to do. And then you look at them and you look at like Obama after like 2 years, like this young guy now, he's all fully gray. And then Bush before him, it looked like he was wearing his dad's shirts after 9/11. It looked like
Hmm.
he was a turtle. Like
Yeah.
his neck got so thin, and you're just like, how stressful is that job? Who would want this?
Hmm.
It looks terrible.
Yeah.
So I let them do their thing, and I just try to take care of my people and the things I care about.
Yeah, I think that's really sound advice there. I think that taking care of your people, if we all just took care of our people, we'd be in a lot better stead. Sadly, that's not what most people do. Sadly, most people practice the ABCs that you talk about in your book there. Oh my gosh, an activating event, the sky is falling. And then they jump right to consequences, but the behavior really drives that. So talk to me about that ABC, Anthony, because I think that's one that is a good starting point here for the conversation.
If you know what cognitive behavioral therapy is, CBT, and if you've ever gone through it, and I have, I spent some time learning those ways to not be angry and not be stressed and I believed everybody was my problem. Like, you're my problem, Phil, not me. I'm perfect, but you have some work to do. And when you find out, Albert Ellis realized you have this activating event, and then you have your beliefs about that event, and then you have consequences for how you handle those sort of things. So for a very long time, I would skip right past the belief. I mean, I'd go right past to the consequences. It's going to be miserable for everybody, and especially because I'm comfortable with conflict a lot more than most people are. So that's how I grew up. And after studying Ellis's work, you figure out what my younger brother Jake taught me. Jake hasn't taught me a lot of things. And when he was in third grade, they said you have to write down what you want to be when you grow up. And he drew a stick person with a microphone, and he said, "Comedy man." Third grade.
Wow.
At 17, when he got out of high school, he got put into an improv group called Midwest Tool and Die. And he was the youngest person ever to do that. And then he's been in movies from Rob Schneider's two movies, Hot Chick and The Animal. He's been in both of those. And he's played all over the world. And he gets unhappy when people drive bad. And so what happened to him one day is somebody was trying to like cut in front of him, and he looked at this guy's face and he realized this guy was under some pressure. He needed to get to a rest area, and because Jake has had that experience so many times, he had the empathy to look at this guy and say, "He's got something going on," and he just waved him through it. He rolled down the window and goes, "Go, go, go," and tell the guy to go. And I'm like, you have no idea if his bladder is, about to break or not. You don't know. You couldn't know that by looking at that. But it didn't matter because he just decided to use his empathy for that person. And now he just lets everybody through. Like, if you want to go in front,
Wow.
go in front. And I thought, how does that happen to somebody like that? Except for he knew exactly what that felt like. And he thought that person was in that same duress that he's been in multiple times. But anytime you want to lie to yourself, you might as well make it a good lie, right? And so if that person that's sitting in front of you in the grocery store and they're talking to somebody for a long time and you're waiting, how do you know that that old woman didn't just lose her husband and she needs somebody to talk to? Even if you're wrong, you're not going to be angry about it. So you don't have to be angry. And that's what Ellis's genius was, is change the belief about it. And if you can change the belief about what you're seeing, then you're going to be a lot less negative and a lot less angry.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, in that chapter on empathy, you've got a quote here that you said you're going to share, try to embed in the world, get a tattoo. You never have to worry about people who are not going to be at your funeral. And I
Yeah.
think that's interesting because a lot of times we think about just like really external. To your point, the person on the freeway. Well, we're never going to see them again.
Right.
But I think about, okay, maybe my parents, right? They didn't do everything right. I think about my brothers. I mean, maybe they will be because I'm the oldest, but maybe not, right? So that gave me a lot of pause there, Anthony. Where did you get that perspective? How did you figure that out, man?
Sometimes you just notice that people have this thing about other people where they care about what other people think about them. And I've known you since 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Sobcom, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a long time. We've known each other
Hmm.
for a long time. Some people really worry about what other people think about them, and they suffer from that, and it makes them negative because they think that people think something of them. But at some point you realize not very many people are paying attention to you at all. So the first thing is nobody's really thinking about you like you think they might. And even if they did, they're not going to do anything about it anyway. But one of the things to just feel better, like the people that you're worried about what they think about you, they are probably not going to be at your funeral. Now, if it's the person who's going to give the eulogy, that person, I hope, is somebody who really likes you, Phil, and knows you well enough to tell some stories about you. But I don't think that people should worry about this. People are going to be people; they're going to do their thing, and the more that you can just let go of that and just say they're going to do what they do, it's not going to have a big impact on my life. I'm going to keep going. You're going to be a lot happier.
Yeah. Well, that realization is so freeing, to realize that people aren't thinking about you. I mean, a lot of people I know, they struggle getting started with things because they're worried, well, what's this person going to think? Or what's this person going to think? And in reality, they're not. I mean, it's
Exactly.
pretty simple, right? I mean, to your point, right? Back in 2010, Anthony, we each had 3, 5, 10 people that started reading us, maybe, right? And most of those people were subscribed and passively subscribed,
Right.
but we kept at it and we kept at it and we kept going and we kept going and eventually recognized that, you know what, really the audience is me. I'm writing for me. And yeah, some other people enjoy it, but that's not my fault. You know, a lot of times that's you know, it's my responsibility to just keep writing and to keep going. So I thought that was really interesting, and that's what that made me think of, is back, you know, because you write every single day, man. You're a machine.
1,000 words at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock this morning. One thing that happened to me, I was sitting on an airplane. I was going to a keynote, and my friend Mike Weinberg called me and said, "There's this guy in England, and he's tweeting to every person on your list." And now I have like 85,000 followers on Twitter. And he said, "I'm going to get everybody together, and we're going to just thrash this guy." And I said, "No, don't do that." Uh, I said, "Here's what I want you to do. Tell everybody to stand down. Don't do anything. Don't even engage with him at all." And he said, "You are just like magnanimous, like you're really a nice guy." And I'm like, "You've got me all wrong. I'm going to starve him of the attention that he's trying to get. And if you don't do anything, then he's not going to get that." So he spent 3 days going through that list and sending a tweet to all these people, only to find out that I didn't care whatever he said. It didn't matter to me at all. And he's not going to be at my funeral. And I won't invite him. He's not going to get an invitation. There's no way. But
You
I'm
didn't give
thinking
your
like
wife
now
his name? No?
he's suffering because he thinks that he's doing something that's going to get him this attention and it doesn't. So you just let all this stuff go. Like, what am I going to do? Beg him, like, please like my work. Well, I don't need you to like it. It's fine if you don't like it. You like something else. You think I'm wrong? Maybe I
Okay.
am. I don't know. Like you, I'm writing every day. I'm writing what I think is true, but other people don't have to believe it, right?
That's
Except
right.
for this book. I do want you to believe this one. That's
Yeah.
why it's cited like the devil.
Yeah.
Like it-
Well, that is one of the things that I noticed, Anthony, because I mean, I of course, right, I love your stories. But wow, man, like I look here at the end notes. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, holy crap, man. Like that's so much there. So is this like was this the culmination of all of your studies, or what is, like, how did this
oh,
kind of come together?
so I had some things that I'd been studying and I'd been practicing. And what happened to me is as I started writing this, I thought, when you get to gratitude, like all you have to do is get to gratitude. And then the claims on gratitude are so outrageous. Like when you look at it, you're like, no, it can't be. So it's going to lower my blood pressure, increase my immune system, get rid of anxiety, stress, and depression. You'll also have greater cognitive functioning. You will live longer. You will be happy. You're like, how many things does gratitude do? Like, it's so many. And I thought, I don't believe this. I mean, there's so many claims and there's so many different papers on the different things that gratitude does for you. And you see that and you're like, nobody's going to believe that. And then my editor, I said, you are more likely to give your pharmaceuticals to your dog or your cat than to take your own yourself. And she said, that's not true. And I said, no, it's true. And she said, that can't be true. And I said, I've spoken to 600 veterinarians 2 times in two years in a row, and they will tell you that that's true. And I went out and I got the citation. And then after that, I was like, maybe we just have to put the citation on every claim so people don't think that this is just conjecture or it's Anthony's opinion. So all of the papers that I read, you can go read if you want to. And if you want to look at something like gratitude and some of the other strategies, you'll find out there's a lot of science. We know a lot of this. What's disappointing, though, Phil, is that these strategies like gratitude and reframing your negative events. We should be teaching this to kids in middle school, and not writing a book, in your fifth decade. Like you would want, like, would have been nice to know these things at some earlier point in my life, right? But I hope that we can do this, and I hope that people will share this with their kids, or maybe we have to write a negativity fast for kids, because they're going to be in a very different world than we were. We were outside all the time with our friends. They were inside. They're on social media. Social media's got a lot of downside.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, let's move there. Let's talk about social media here, because that's a big one for a lot of people. I mean, people watching this, if you're watching live, you're watching it on social media. If you're watching the replay, you're seeing it likely because you saw me post it or Anthony share it on social media. So, removing social media, like, do we have to remove it all? I know that
No.
you removed it all from your phone. Talk to me about that.
Everything, the only thing that I still have that's social on my phone is YouTube. And
Oh,
it's
okay.
because I like to listen to things when I'm driving or when I'm in the shower. So we have a little speaker that I can plug that into. I got rid of Twitter. I got rid of Facebook. I got rid of everything except YouTube. And then that's so I can listen to that. So I will go out and look at LinkedIn, because I like LinkedIn, because it's a business platform and it's a good place to connect with people. And so that's what we do there. But I don't do it on my phone, because I would like to have my phone not giving me any notifications about anything. It's too it takes too much time and energy to do that. So I don't look at the phone. I keep forgetting it places. I forget it in my house. I forget it at restaurants. And I think there's something about me that's trying to resist carrying this thing around. I think if you had a baby and you had a phone, you would hold the phone more than you hold the baby. That would be my guess. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
these things never leave. You don't take the baby into the bathroom with you, but you do this, right? You don't. Yeah, so I don't know why it has so much power over us,
Hmm.
and now it's boring. We've had it for a long time. 2007, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The
For the
first
iPhone.
iPhone
Yeah,
is 16 years old. Yeah, that's right.
it's a
That's
long
right.
time. It's
Yeah.
boring now.
Yeah.
But for kids, they have a lot of problems on social media, especially in, like, late grade school and going into high school. And then as people get older, they see all these people, like the influencers, and they think that those people have a beautiful life because they manicure these pictures and these videos so that you believe that that's true. And I can tell you something, just because I've read so much psychology. That's what you do when you're missing something. Yeah, you're missing something there. So that's what's happening to those people. You should not try to follow them. In that chapter, Luke Burgess's book about wanting, and what's really called mimetics, with not like a mean, but with an I in this one, is that we tend to want what other people want because they're modeling it for us, and they're getting their model from a model who got it from another model. So who knows who or why anybody wanted this, but we think we're supposed to want those same things that they want. And you shouldn't, and you don't need to. You don't have to be an influencer, and you don't have to manicure everything every day so that you can be popular with people who don't know you and don't care about you. It just doesn't make any sense to do that. But it also harms kids because I would say this, Phil. I grew up in a tough neighborhood. Uh, I got in a lot of fights, not because I wanted to, and certainly not because I was good at it, because that wasn't true at all. But for my daughters, I noticed they don't do physical fighting, they do psychological fighting. So what they do is ostracize somebody and put them on the outside, and then they start sending them on what they call a Finsta account. You know what that is?
A fake Instagram account.
Yeah, it's a
That's,
fake
yeah.
Instagram. Yeah, so they've all got those. So the parents can't see the bullying that's going on, but the kid is really, really being harmed by this bullying. The cyber bullying is a big thing. And then probably the worst thing that I came across was something from CNN that when young men go into TikTok, the first thing that it shows them is something about harming yourself. And then the second thing that they get is a body shaming kind of thing. So that's what's happening in the United States
Wow.
when young teenage boys go into TikTok. So we have to be very careful about what we let people do and what we don't. We need to be very, very careful with children and making sure that that's not happening. So
Wow. Wow. That's yeah, that's pretty disgusting, man. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. So one of the things let's kind of move to complaining, right? Because one of the things that the negativity fast, you're not saying not to complain. I actually caught it here, right? You said there's actually four ways to complain without being negative. Almost like, like get it out, feel that, right? Feel that, get that out. So talk to me, Anthony. Give me some of those ways that you
I think
uncovered that
I
are
think
helpful.
the most powerful thing that you're going to get from complaining and also your self talk at the same time, if you're wrapped up in something and you want to complain, and listen, if this was an Olympic sport, I'd have like 9 gold medals like right here. Like
Michael Phelps, Anarino.
I no doubt about it. Like I would look like that. And the best thing that you can possibly do when you have a complaint is find a solution. That is the most important thing for you to do. It changes you from the complaint to how do we have to do this if we want this to be better. So that is the first thing that you need to know. And also when the self-talk, when that self-talk is going, people used to say you should sit and introspect. Nope. Uh, Ethan, who wrote the book on chatter, Ethan Cross, just go ahead and start figuring out what the solution is, and that will change your mindset, and you have to go into a creative situation instead. Some of the other things that you can do is just don't complain at all and move on with your life. I mean, that's what you do when something isn't going your way. I start that with the babies because babies can't find a solution. They have to have a grown up that has the ability to walk and pick things up other than children. Uh, that is what we do. We act like a baby, like we don't have the resources to do this. But of course, we have the resources to do it. Might not be easy, but when you complain, you have a number of other things that happen to the people that are around you. So one of the things, there are good complaints because there are problems and they do need to be solved. Okay, so that's one thing. But the other thing is that when there is a complaining and it's around people that you love, you start to drive them away from your constant complaining. So it starts to disrupt your relationships with people that you love and care about. So that will, I hope, cause some people to say, I should probably just stop complaining. I had maybe 4 opportunities this morning to complain. And my wife was walking with me because we walk every morning. Nothing came out of my mouth. Not one thing. I'm not going to complain about it. And I'll tell you why, Phil. Have you ever had ice cream?
Oh, I love ice cream.
Pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
How about pizza?
Ooh, yeah, pizza's awesome. Pepperoni, my favorite.
Dogs?
Oh yeah, just yeah, my little dogs are in the office listening to
Coffee?
us. Oh yes, every
What's to
day.
complain about? There's
Life is
nothing to
good.
complain about, right?
Yeah,
It's all
life is good.
good. There's nothing that's going to replace what we are doing right now. I mean, this is as good as it's going to get. So you start to be really grateful for all of these things and say, I'm not going to complain about anything. It's pretty good here.
Yeah. Yeah, that reframe is so big. I mean, this morning, as we're getting on, right, we had a little bit of a technical challenge, but I'll
One of
tell
us
you,
did.
well, that's a wee thing. That's a wee thing. So yeah, but I mean, truly though, I'm just grateful I get to spend time with you, my friend.
Me too.
It is wonderful that we get to spend time talking about your new book. And now I only live 90 minutes from you, so now we'll be able to get together, which is awesome.
I got to go down to Cincinnati pretty soon. I'll
Cool.
find out when that is.
Good. Yeah,
We
I'd
can
love
have
to see
dinner
you.
or lunch again.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk just a smidge more about the book, Anthony. You got a lot of great stuff in here that I love, right? I really I enjoy the book a lot. To your point, I try to be positive all the time. It's not possible. It's not
Yeah,
possible.
it's
So
true.
to stop, right, and read this was really helpful for me, is just to pause and say that. So I want to kind of wrap this up. One of the things that you say in the book is the power of the thank you, saying thank you. And I have to tell you, that plus gratitude for me has really changed my life.
Yeah.
Gratitude is powerful, but thank you is equally big. So let's talk about that, Anthony. What is the science and your experience behind the thank you?
There's science on this. There actually is people who studied what thanking people does for you and for them. It increases your connection with those people. Your relationships get better. And what happens when you don't say thank you? So my wife is at home and she will make dinner tonight, and I don't have any idea what it is. I'm not part of that equation except for I'm going to show up at home. I say thank you every single night for her doing that for me. Like she has to go get something and she does the work and all of these things. And if you don't do that, it's actually going to harm your relationships for not being grateful for what somebody's done for you. If you can practice that, whether it's saying it out loud or sending a card, I'm more and more interested in sending cards because I think it's not an email. I don't want to send an email saying thank you. I would rather send something that's personal. And I like that a lot better. We have these relationships. And I think when you look back on like the smartest people in the world, let's go back a long time, they only wrote letters to each other. And that's so much cooler than sending an email. So I think that we should go back to doing that and saying the thank you in on paper in our own handwriting, even though, Phil, when you get a note from me, you won't be able to read it. You'll need somebody to translate it for you. But you'll know somewhere in there it says thank you and I appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do we say thank you though? Like you mentioned letters, but I mean like how is it important to be specific? I mean, what do we need to include in that, or am I just asking that and making it way too hard?
You're making it way too hard. If
Okay.
you just say thank you, I really appreciate that. That's good because a lot of people don't say it at all. I mean, I imagine uh, you have a whole bunch of people you have that come on a show, and some of them send you cards, and you go on other people's shows and you send them a card. But a lot of people don't do that at all. We've got somebody here saying, Lisa saying, 4 cards today. Personal mail is the first thing we open. Yeah, and it's real. It's tangible. It's not an email. But I'm also just on in full disclosure. I also don't like DocuSign. I actually want to have the contract being signed by a human being where I'm sitting across from them and talking about how we're going to help the results get better. So I just think a lot of this should be going back to being human.
Yeah. Yeah. Backing that up, back to being human. I totally agree. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love digital.
Me too.
I really do. Obviously we're here. It's great that I can be digital, but there's
We
nothing to
met at a
replace that.
social media conference.
Right. That's right. Yeah, 13 years ago. That's right. Yep. Yep. So no picture of that, sadly, but I can tell you where it was. It was in Chicago. It was you were standing by a big pole there, and we are listening to Social Media Club Chicago.
It's a
So
long time ago.
it was a long time ago. Yep. Yep.
The only
So
picture we have is the one I think that we took in Cincinnati when we had
that's
lunch.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the one. So we'll take another one. We'll get together again. So
you're
that'll
close
happen.
now.
I am close now, absolutely, which I am grateful for. Some people think that I'm crazy because I moved from Florida to Ohio, but I'll tell you, I am grateful for the seasons. We have a back in our backyard. I have trees that are multiple colors,
Yeah.
and I'm so grateful for that instead of just green. It's so interesting, and I never thought I would be that way. being from Wisconsin, I mean, I was like, oh yeah, it's great to get away. But
Well, you got
I'm grateful.
Luke Fickle, who came from Ohio State, who's now your Wisconsin head coach.
This is true. This is true. So that's a good thing.
Jason, my brother, is friends with Luke. They went to high school together, and he said they played volleyball. And Luke Fickle was the most determined competitor you've ever seen, even just playing volleyball. And when he was in high school, he was a heavyweight wrestler. He had 202 bouts, and he won 202 of them. That's how intense he is.
Wow.
Yeah, he's an
Holy
intense
cow.
guy.
My goodness. My goodness. That's got to be interesting to be coached by that
Yeah, it
with that
must
level
be.
of intensity. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Wow. Well, lots of stuff that you shared today, Anthony. The ABCs, all about empathy, not worrying about people that aren't going to be at your funeral, saying thank you, not complaining, how to do that positively. So much stuff today. But I want to close up with, how do we get started with this, Anthony? Because I think, lots of great strategies that you offer in the book. I mean, the book is great, and it's science based. It's not just, Anthony going about I mean, there's 7 or 8 pages full of citations. So if you're thinking this is hooey, it's not. Go get the book, go get the Negativity Fast and talk about that. But Anthony, how do we get started with this? Because there's so much there that we could do.
Yeah, I think
Give
the
me one
first
thing.
thing that you should do is identify what are your triggers. So what is it that really gets you? So for me, it was politics. And I'm arguing about politics all the time when I was young. And I'm like, nope, I'm getting rid of it. So find one of those things and start giving them up one at a time. You don't have to drop everything, because you're going to find that there's other things that you're going to want to do too. Sometimes it's negative people in your life. And what are you going to do with them? And then I would just say start. If I had one thing to say, if you were going to just do, let's give me 2 things. I'll have 2 things. Okay. Number one, get rid of net news, especially cable news. So if you're on Fox or you're on MSNBC or CNN, turn that off and go read like The Economist or something like that that's not divisive, because we don't need any more divisiveness in our environment than we already have. The second thing I'll tell you is that Marty Seligman, who's the father of positive psychology, when he went to school to study psychology, there was only 2 things: pharmaceuticals, psychoanalyst. Those are the only 2 things. And he thought that can't be right. We could flourish. There's a way that we could do and not have to have any of those things. And what he would tell you to do is called 3 blessings. And 3 blessing means the end of your day, you write down 3 positive things that happened to you and why they went well for you. And if you do that for 2 weeks, Seligman will tell you if you're anxious or stressed or depressed, for probably 6 months after that, you will not be depressed or stressed or anxious. One of the things that, if you do this and you start writing them down every night, like in a journal, and you start going backwards through it, because you have this negativity bias already. So what will happen is you're starting to look at this list, this giant list of every day, like 3 good things that happened to me today. And it starts to overweight the negativity bias, because you're looking at all these things saying, look at all these good things that happen to me all the time, instead of saying, I just remember the negative things that happen. And that's what negativity bias does. It tries to prioritize the negative instead of the positive. But you can change that with this. The last thing I'll say about Seligman, he said compared to psychoanalyst or pharmaceuticals, this may be more powerful than both of those. So why not take a shot at it?
Wow. Wow. That's super, super powerful and a great reminder for us, Anthony. So I'm going to encourage folks to stop with the Chat GPT AI and put some AI Anthony Iannarino in your life. Get your copy of the Negativity Fast. It comes out on Halloween. So if you're listening to this, you're watching this, you can pre-order it now. You can check that out. Anthony's got some great bonuses for you. Anthony, where should they go if they want to get the bonuses and get more?
They go to thesalesblog.com. Up at the top of that, there's it's called a hello bar, and you'll see Negativity Fast. And if you click on that, it'll show you all the pre-order bonuses. And Jim, I'm recording the last 4 hours of this book tomorrow and Saturday. So we will have it on Audible soon.
Awesome. Awesome. So go to thesalesblog.com, pre-order your copy of the Negativity Fast. So Anthony, I want to take this home and just say thank you. It is always a joy to learn from you, to be with you, and to be your friend. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, and
Thanks
thanks
for
so
writing
much
this
for
book.
having me on. I
Always.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So friends, go to thesalesblog.com, pre-order or order your copy of the Negativity Fast. Get to know Anthony Iannarino, the only AI you need to be more positive.